Detroit Den 313. We are back, Stephen Will, talking that Detroit Lions football. Before we get started, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and do not forget the bell icon so you don't miss any new content. Steve, what the heck are we talking about today?
If there's one thing I think we can agree we hate talking about, it's rumors that don't have a lot of legs. Um, it's speculation. We're going to talk a little bit about Treylon Burks and the Tennessee Titans, and you're thinking, "Wow, I thought this was a Detroit Lions podcast or a TV show, whatever you want to call us." Well, we are. We are. We do specialize in the Detroit Lions. That's what our main focus is. But when stuff like this pops up, an article that's published. The Lions should take a shot on a trade for a former first round receiver, and that is Tennessee Titans wide receiver Treylon Burks. So there it is. As you can see, we are not affiliated with A to Z Sports. We don't know who they are. The article's there. We're going to talk about it. If you guys want to read the article, that's how you find it. But William, Treylon Burks, wide receiver, kind of a small need for the Detroit Lions. How do you think Treylon Burks would look at it in a Honolulu blue uniform?
When Treylon Burks came out of the draft, I liked him. He hasn't done much in the NFL besides be hurt. And I know what a lot of people are going to say about Treylon Burks. I've seen this topic bouncing around a little bit and really wasn't going to push to address it. But I figure if you guys put it in the chat and I get enough text messages about it, and Steve as well, we might as well talk it. But the bottom line for me is I like what he did out there in Arkansas. I believe that's where he was, Razorback. Yep. And I like what he did out there, but it hasn't translated to the NFL. Most people are saying that it's a QB issue, and now we could potentially be in a situation similar to Houston's situation, to where he might be odd man out at receiver. They got a couple of guys. Then they went and got Calvin Ridley. They went and got DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, he could be the odd man out now. Could he be looking for a new home? Maybe he's gonna make next to nothing over the next few seasons. My thing is this: you bring him in, and what if he's not healthy? Which he's shown over his career. He spends a lot of time in the tub instead of helping out his club.
It's in the tub and not helping the club. I like that.
It's not ideal, man. It's not ideal. I think there's just some better options potentially in the draft. I'm not going to sit up here and say he can't go to a different team and be productive with a good quarterback. Maybe an opportunity with a guy like Jared Goff, top 10 quarterback in the league, if I do say so myself. Maybe that could revamp his career, but I don't see him getting a lot of separation. Now, I'm not going to pretend I'm an honest man. I'm not going to pretend like I've watched a bunch of NFL film on Treylon Burks. I haven't, but the little bit that I have watched and seen, I don't see him getting separation. I followed him a little bit because when he came out in the draft, he was a guy that I liked. So I did follow him a little bit, see how he was doing here and there, but I haven't seen anything that blew me away. Now, maybe if I started really breaking down film and watching, a lot of snaps, maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. But the naked eye from what I've seen so far and my initial thoughts are I wouldn't really like to see him in Honolulu blue. I just would there's 25 guys in this draft at receiver that we like. I'd rather go that route than draft a Treylon Burks. Steve, you in agreement, or are you a Treylon Burks guy?
Listen, William, I've shared this story before. The Tennessee Titans have a little spot in my mean old heart.
Yeah.
One of the very first Super Bowls I remember watching was the Titans and Rams. I was cheering for the Titans. That's kind of when I got introduced to football. We have some family down in Tennessee, and they would always send me some Tennessee Titans gear for Christmases and birthdays, and I always kind of cheered for them. Lions first. When the Titans and Lions play, and we play them this year, let there be no rumor. There will be, I will have on Lions gear cheering for my Honolulu Blue Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
So I'm a little familiar with how they operate. And Treylon Burks was drafted the year that the Titans traded away A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay. And
they drafted him, and a lot of people were saying, why would you trade A.J. Brown when you just drafted Treylon Burks? They're the same build, same physicality, all that kind of stuff. I saw it on. I was like, this guy is not going to be A.J. Brown. On top of being unhealthy, he reported as a rookie, extremely out of shape, out of condition, had to spend the first couple weeks of training camp getting his body ready for the NFL season. So I think that haltered or put a huge wall up against his production and his development. And on top of that, I don't know if he had really a quarterback issue. Like Ryan Tannehill, not the best quarterback in the league, obviously, but he had some good years. He kind of sprinkled in some good years there with Tennessee. Then they go ahead and they draft Will Levis. They're thinking, all right, this is a Treylon Burks. This is going to help him out. He can chuck the ball a mile. Let's get DeAndre Hopkins so that he's not constantly getting double teamed. Still didn't work out. So would I love to see Treylon Burks in a Detroit Lions uniform? Absolutely, I would, Will. Are you nuts? As long as it's in the stands and not on the field.
I was confused. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, wow, this is mind blowing right now.
Detroit Lions jersey, put him in the section, let him watch a game. I don't want to see him on a football field for the Lions unless we're playing the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, if we're playing anybody, I would like to see him as a part of their receiving core. That's it.
I think he'll end up getting cut. I think it could be this year. They got a new regime. They fired Mike Vrabel. GM's out of town. They're pretty much starting from scratch. And I don't think they're going to be in a position where they want to really bullshit around with a guy who, I mean, when you come in as a rookie, out of shape, overweight, like I think I read something like he gained 25 pounds from the time they had a meeting with him until the time he reported to NFL training camp. Like that's a significant amount of weight that he had to get off of his body.
Is he hanging out with T'Vondre Sweat?
Eating those wings and getting drunk and getting behind the wheel of a car. Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, I question how much is he a football guy or is he just in the NFL trying to get a paycheck?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm with you. When he came out of Arkansas, I was really high on him as well. I liked him quite a bit. But obviously, it just hasn't worked out for him in the NFL. And I know Tennessee was kind of run heavy. We're a little run heavy. Like, how much would we really see him? My interest level is probably at like on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe like a 1.
Steve
William,
I live by a quote. It's called failing to prepare is preparing to fail. It's rare that I get on here without doing some due diligence, unless it's a topic that I get surprised with, we just spin off to it. I'm doing my due diligence. I'm watching film. I'm checking out articles. I'm looking at interviews. I'm asking questions to guys that I trust about this game. I get on here and do some backgrounds. My interest is so minimal for Treylon Burks. I looked at nothing other than what the proposed trade was that kind of initiated this conversation. Outside of that, I looked at nothing. I have zero interest. Like if we could probably go into the negatives, and that's no disrespect to Treylon Burks. It's just I don't want to risk, the injury concerns. I don't want to risk a guy who hasn't proven to be a gritty guy. Right. I don't want to risk that. The risk reward isn't worth it to me, especially going into a draft that's very receiver heavy, like we keep talking about, very receiver heavy draft. I think that there's some other options that we could go to that that would just be better options than Treylon Burks, man. But hey, man, all these guys are trying to get a paycheck. They're trying to feed their families. I wish nothing bad for him. There's 31 other teams that you can go play on, man, and good luck to you playing on those teams.
Yeah, I think he does need a fresh start. It's just the Lions are in a situation where we really haven't been, where we're going to be considered Super Bowl favorites. We're going to be favorites to win the NFC. This isn't gamble time. This isn't a time to go out there and try to rejuvenate someone's young career. I like everything about Treylon Burks. His health and his work ethic is what's pretty much a hard no for me. Those two things, I mean, I'm looking at it. As a rookie in 2022, 11 games played. 2023, last year, 11 games played. So that's only 22 games out of a possible 34. So he's essentially missed half almost of all his time he's been able to play. Only 16 catches last year in 11 games for 220 yards, no touchdowns. Just like, even when he's on the field, like there's no really production. Like I'm not trying to be mean either. I'm not here to bash Treylon Burks, but the league's called the not for long league for a reason. And this is the kind of stuff that will get you out of the league. Your work ethic, your drive, what
Yeah.
you need to be motivated, and then on top of that, your production. It's I hope I'm wrong. I hope he goes somewhere else and has a nice little career, but I'm not willing to bet on it.
I'm not gonna bash Treylon Burks because he didn't do anything to get bashed, in my opinion, especially not to me. But I tell you who I will bash. Right? Uh, there's
Uh,
some there's some people out here in the world that are being supremely disrespectful. You named some of them already, right? The people. So you always got these player comps, man. You always got these player comps. And when I hear Treylon Burks' name, right, I hear things like AJ Brown,
mhm.
right? I heard, hey, AJ Brown can go ahead and leave because now we have Treylon Burks, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard that. That didn't work out
Mm.
so well. I also, when Treylon Burks was drafted, I also heard things like he's gonna be similar to Debo Samuel. Mm, mm, mm,
Not
mm.
even close.
Guys, we got to be careful throwing these player comparisons out there. We got to be careful because just because a guy is big and he rushes the ball every now and then, uh, and he seems to be physical, doesn't mean they're gonna do this against grown men. Like we got to get a strong body of work before we start doing those player comparisons, guys. We gotta let's be careful because that's been tossed around quite a bit. Not as much now, but when he was first coming in the league, and even that first season, oh man, he's gonna be running the ball. He's gonna be getting reverses. You could put him in a backfield. He can catch screens. He can sit in a tub and get ice and stem.
Yeah. He was I believe he was a top 3 receiver coming out in 2022. I can't remember. I don't have the 2022 draft class in front of me, but I know he was obviously drafted in the first round, so there was a lot of potential. He was a stud at Arkansas. He played very, very well.
Oh,
And I couldn't
absolutely.
even tell you Arkansas's quarterback that year. I mean, I'm sure someone will leave it in the comments. Not exactly like a college football powerhouse, but Arkansas is just kind of one of those teams that, like, hey, you better not overlook. I'll tell you right now, just a quick story. I hit my first 10-leg parlay in college football this past season. First time ever. And it came down to me sweating out LSU versus Arkansas. LSU was heavily favored, and I picked them money line. LSU struggled that whole game, and I had to pull it out in the last seconds because Arkansas just plays tough football. But Treylon Burks, yeah, when he was coming out of college, I can't remember where he was ranked. I can't remember off the top of my head the receivers in that class. I mean, I could go back and look, but if you're getting drafted in the first round, there's talent. So something has happened to him between college and the NFL, whether it's, man, I got this bag of money now, I got some zeros in my bank account, I don't really feel like working, like I'm set for life. I hope that's not the route he goes because I personally never had that much money, unfortunately, but I can imagine it goes pretty fast if you start spending. So I really hope he gets it together. But when it comes to it being a Detroit Lion, I'm not willing to even sign him if he gets cut. It's just I don't think he's a fit. I don't think he's a culture guy. I don't think he's got that Detroit Lion grit. I think he would do more harm than good on this team.
Steve,
William.
hot seat. We don't want Treylon Burks. It's a consensus here at Detroit Den 313. We're not talking about just the draft. We're going to talk about free agency. All right. We're going to talk about even potential trades. Let's talk about those Houston Texans. Let's talk about Tyler Boyd, right? Um, would you be interested in any of those guys, or are you just set couple week or so away? Let's just go into this draft and go get somebody. Where you at with that? How you feel?
Right now, today, I'd probably say draft.
Just
Somewhere.
forget Tyler Boyd, huh? Just
Well, hang on a second.
man.
Hang on a second. Do I get a chance to make my chess moves and explain what I'm doing here?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just texting Tyler right now.
Jeez, oh, please. Right
I
now,
still want you to come to Detroit.
right now, today, draft. Now, if we get through the whole draft weekend and we don't take a receiver, I think maybe Tyler Boyd is more of an option. That's exactly what I was going to say, but just couldn't get to my punchline.
Interesting. I already sent the text, so Tyler, I stand with you.
Well, I'd like to have Tyler Boyd, but I think it would have happened by now. I think Brad's waiting to see who falls to him in certain scenarios. If we don't leave the NFL draft next weekend with a wide receiver, I think Brad's going to probably make a call. I don't think Tyler Boyd's a huge need. He would be a very nice piece to have. But, yeah, I just think Brad's sitting back waiting for the draft, and I think he's got a couple guys circled in certain scenarios, like, hey, I want this guy in round 3 or this guy in round 5. And if that doesn't work out, then Tyler Boyd becomes probably more likely of an option.
Yeah, no, I kid, man, but I think that if I'm Tyler Boyd, man, I'm looking to see what this draft looks like, and at this point, I'm just gonna wait because just like you had mentioned before about some of these other guys, when the situation makes sense, the price goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he doesn't have a lot of traction for the money that he's asking for right now, but when that team goes into this draft, doesn't get a receiver because of the way that things fall, and they still need one, maybe Tyler Boyd gets a call. Or with him being a veteran, maybe when one of these teams' receivers goes down, maybe he plays 3/4 of the season instead of playing the full season because he waits it out until the time is right and gets himself a nice contract. Who knows, man? Maybe he's playing chess and not checkers.
Yeah, supply and demand. Like if a team needs a receiver more, that's just going to drive up his price more. But just real quick, I'll say that I think a team that should probably call Tyler Boyd, and as much as I hate to say this, would probably be the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I don't know who the receivers are because I'm pretty sure Rashee Rice was out playing real life Mario Kart. I don't know what's going to happen with him, how big of a suspension he's going to be looking at. Travis Kelce's getting a little old. I don't really know what they're looking at receivers. So if I were the Chiefs, I think that would be a good fit for them. But fuck the Chiefs. We should have beat them in the Super Bowl. That's how I feel.
Yeah, man. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm not moving because you could probably go get 2 receivers. Where are they picking? 32?
Yeah, I know. I'm saying like for Tyler Boyd to go out and sign him.
No, that's what I'm saying. But there's still there's guys like we said. You can a lot of guys keep talking about like guys like Jalen Coker. You can go get an Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Leggett, whichever one of these guys ends up falling at the back end of this draft, and then still go draft a Jalen Coker. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be dudes. Another one that keeps getting dropped. Maybe we should do a show. I don't know if there's enough film to do a show on this guy, but another one that keeps getting dropped in the comments is David White. He's I love his releases. To top end vertical speed may be in question, but his releases are nasty, man. Somebody said the best route runner in the draft in our comments. I don't agree with that, but he may be the best releaser in the draft. His releases are nasty, but those are guys that are going to be available the middle parts of this draft, man, middle back end. So you could easily get a receiver in the first half and still get a solid receiver in the back half that can be productive. Green Bay's shown that. They've done it for years and years and years. They draft guys, man, that later on in the draft, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and these guys.
Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, like they draft Hall of Famers in the middle of the rounds. We got to find some of those wide receiver spots, but we've kind of hit some gold too with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I think if Brad wants a receiver, yeah, we could be looking at round 3, round 4 if something happens and we acquire a 4th round pick. But yeah, I think this is definitely a heavy receiver class. If you were to ask me what type of draft class is this, you got like your quarterback classes, running backs, whatever. I think this is a wide receiver class. I think that's probably the deepest position. Either that or maybe defensive back. But I mean, there's so many defensive backs and so many wide receivers that it's kind of easy to say. But there's literally there's guys I'm okay with drafting in the 3rd round, 2nd round, God willing, forbid. I mean, 1st round, possibly I would not really be overly excited about 1st round because you know how I feel about that. But 2nd, 3rd round, 4th, if we acquire a 4th round pick, there's some guys in this draft that could fall and would make huge differences.
All right. So Treylon Burks, you're not welcome here. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, that's it for today, guys. Like I said, this is coming from Uncle Steve and Uncle Will. Like I showed you the article. If you guys want to go read it, A to Z Sports. Don't know him. Don't know who even wrote the article. It was probably in the screen share that I shared, but didn't look at the name. You sent it to me, and I was just like, what are we talking about here? Like, how is this even a thing? Like, anybody who's disgruntled is just automatically got to be a Detroit Lion. So we got on here. We wanted to talk about it. Let us know how you feel in the comments. Hit that like button. If you're new here, stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with some more content.
Peace.